Would you believe me if I told you that 40% of visitors will abandon your site if it takes more than 3 seconds to load? That's not a typo. 3 seconds. In 2025, people's patience is thinner than ever, and Google's algorithms are punishing slow sites more aggressively than ever before. Here's the good news. You don't need to be a coding wizard to dramatically speed up your website. I've helped customers and small businesses transform their sluggish site into speed demons. I've distilled it down to 5 really easy fixes that anyone can implement. The first thing that we're talking about is images. Let's kick things off with the #1 speed killer on most websites, bloated images. Imagine this, you spent good money on professional photos for your business, uploaded them directly from your photographer, and your beautiful homepage takes forever to load. What's happening? These gorgeous images probably weigh more than the rest of your website combined. The truth is, most websites I look at are loading images 5 to 10 times larger than they need to be. The fix is incredibly simple. First, resize your images to the actual dimensions they'll display on your site. There's no point in loading a 4,000 pixel wide image when your content area is only 800 pixels wide. Second, I definitely recommend that you compress your images. Tools like TinyPNG or ShortPixel can reduce file size by 60 to 80% with virtually no visible quality loss. Depending on what platform you're using, you may even be able to use a plugin that does this automatically for you. I've seen this single change cut load times in half for some clients. Thirdly, embrace modern image formats like WebP. They're typically 25 to 35% smaller than JPEGs at the same quality level, and they're supported by all major browsers now. If you're on WordPress, plugins like Imagify can automatically convert your images to WebP format. You may also consider using a technique called lazy loading, where the images load progressively or only when the user scrolls to it. It's like magic for your initial page load time. The next point we're talking about is leveraging browser caching. Think of browser caching like this. Instead of making your visitors download every single file every single time they visit your site, you tell their browsers, hey, save this stuff locally so you don't have to download it again next time. This is especially powerful for your logo, CSS style sheets, JavaScript files, and other elements you don't really change too much. When properly configured, browser caching can make repeat visits to your site feel instantaneous. Setting this up is pretty straightforward. If you're using something like WordPress, plugins like WP Rocket or W3 Total Cache handle this automatically. If you're more technical, you can add a few lines to your htaccess file to set appropriate cache headers. Properly implemented caching can reduce server load and bandwidth usage by up to 80%, which doesn't just speed up your website, it can also save you money on hosting potentially as well. Point number 3 might sound technical. It's actually not too complicated. This is minimizing HTTP requests. Every time your site loads, it has to make separate requests for every single file that the site needs. Every image, style sheet, font, and so on. Each of these requests takes time, almost like having to take multiple trips to the grocery store instead of getting everything in one go. The average website makes over 70 HTTP requests. That's 70 separate files your visitor's browser has to download. Cut that number down and your site speeds up dramatically. Start by auditing your site with tools like GTmetrix or Google PageSpeed Insights. I use Lighthouse. These will show you exactly how many requests your site is making and what's causing them. Once you can see exactly what you're dealing with, here are some quick fixes. 1, combine multiple CSS files into one. 2, combine JavaScript files when possible. 3, use CSS sprites for small repeating images like icons. 4, remove unnecessary plugins that load their own CSS in JavaScript. And finally, implement font icons instead of using multiple image icons. Our 4th point today is using a content delivery network, or a CDN. Here's the problem. Your website lives on a server in one physical location. Let's say, for example, it's in New York. A visitor from California might experience pretty decent speeds, but somebody in Australia or Europe They might just be twiddling their thumbs waiting for your site to load. A CDN solves this by copying your site's static content to servers all around the world. When someone visits your site, they get served those files from the location nearest to them. Setting up a CDN used to be complex and expensive, but nowadays it's incredibly accessible. Services like Cloudflare offer free plans that can dramatically improve your global load times. Other popular options include Bunny CDN and StackPath, which are very affordable for small businesses. And the final solution we're talking about today is optimizing your code. Our final speed fix is all about trimming the fat from your website's code. Most websites, especially those built on platforms like WordPress, are carrying around a ton of unnecessary code. Here's what you should look for: unused CSS styles that your theme loads but doesn't actually use, entire JavaScript libraries that are loaded just for one tiny function, excessive plugins. Maybe you've got 20 plugins installed when only 5 would do the job, inline CSS and JavaScript that could be moved to external files, and finally, render blocking resources that prevent your page from loading quickly. There are tools that can scan your site and remove unused CSS, code minification tools to compress your code by removing unnecessary characters and white space. It's sort of like zip filing for your website. For WordPress users, a plugin like Asset Cleanup or Perf Matters let you selectively disable scripts and styles on page where you might not need them. And another often overlooked optimization is proper implementation of web fonts. Those fancy fonts can slow down your site significantly if not handled correctly. Limit your use to 2 or 3 font families and make sure they're properly loaded with font display swap to prevent rendering delays. So there you have it, 5 relatively simple fixes that can transform your website from sluggish to lightning fast. Implementing even just 2 or 3 of these can dramatically improve your site speed, which means better user experience, higher conversion rates, and improved search engine rankings. If all of this sounds a bit overwhelming or you just want expert help implementing these fixes right away, I'd love to help. Just fill out the questionnaire linked in the description below and I'll personally review your situation with you. If you found this video helpful, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It helps more business owners like you discover these tips. Subscribe to the channel for more practical tech advice that actually makes sense, and drop a comment if you have any questions about speeding up your specific website. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.